Hey everyone, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming out now. This is going to be for Davidson, Rutherford, Sumner, Williamson, and Wilson. This is going to be a big warning, and this is going to be for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So, new severe thunderstorm warning coming out, and we'll see it appear on radar here in just a moment. And this will be for Davidson, Rutherford, Sumner, Williamson, and Wilson County. So let's take a look at this storm up here. There's that polygon now. This is for a storm that's in Davidson County. And let me turn that white polygon off there, and you can see the warning. So this is for a pretty strong storm now. This is going to be right here around Belmead, coming into Oak Hill, Berry Hill, right around the 440, 65 area. So Oak Hill, 100 Oaks, Glencliff, areas like that. Look to see the strongest part of this storm. And looks like, let's go do some ETAs here on the strongest part of it. And that's going to be right around 65 in Harding, right around 257 here in about 10 minutes. Creve Hall around 258, B&A around 305. Headed right for the airport. And again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect now for Davidson County. And that's going to be in effect for about 40 minutes now for this storm around Belmead. So looks like there could be some hail with this thing, and there's a lot of lightning. Lots and lots of cloud-to-ground lightning around Belmead and Forest Hill. So what are the threats with this? Strong, damaging winds. We see evidence of microburst occurring, at least to some extent there around Belmead and Forest Hills. And in fact, let me share that other screen with you, and we'll look at that together. So right here around Belmead, Forest Hills, kind of see these reds and greens coming together. They're actually, this is in not a rotation orientation. This is in sort of a microburst orientation. So winds going away from the radar this way around Percy Warner Park, and winds going toward the radar this way around Belmead and Forest Hills, and particularly there around Tyne Boulevard and Hemingway Drive, right there around Forest Hills in the Hillsborough area. So strong winds, definitely a possibility there. This is one of the strongest storms we've seen today here in Davidson County. And then that is headed toward Oak Hill and Radnor Lake. And the 65, Melrose 65, and hey, David, would you mind muting if you don't mind?
Sorry, the dogs are going nuts.
That's
yeah,
all right.
My bad.
Okay. And then Berry Hill, and then over toward Glencliff, B&A, and areas like that. That's where this storm is headed. So strong winds possible, but also some large hail. This thing's pinging some pretty large hail. I would say quarter size is a good possibility. And the heaviest part of this storm right there around Tyne Boulevard, right there around the Hillsborough Road, Tyne Boulevard area. There in the see, there's Burton Valley, Green Hills is to the east a little bit, and actually this is just kind of south of Green Hills. There,
so that's a heavily wooded area along south of Green Hills. You go up over that hill on Hillsborough Road, and then through Belmead towards Grassland. So this whole area is probably getting hit with some tree limbs down, maybe some small branches down.
So quite large hail here. It appears possible here, especially in these purples. So right there around Forest Hills, Tyne Boulevard, Burton Valley. These roads right in here, these neighborhoods right in here, the wooded areas that Will's talking about, headed right for Granny White Pike. And we'll cross Granny White Pike right there around Battery Lane. And that will be Battery Lane, Harding Place, right there around Lipscomb Academy. And those areas there looks like, and that's going to be a pain for dismissal at schools like Lipscomb Academy and those places right there on the south sides of Green Hills. So it looks like some hail possible in there. Could be a little bit large, and that is now moving over to the east toward Granny White Pike. All right, so pretty strong storm, and I think, guys, what this is doing, this storm kind of got this outflow boundary sort of went up under that storm, and I think it's given it some energy. I'm not sure how long that'll last, but at least here for the time being, that boundary has given quite a boost of energy to the storm, and it's right around Tyne Boulevard and right around Tyne Boulevard and Granny White Pike is right where it is now. And then on the northern side of that is Battery Lane, Harding Place, right there at the corner where Lipscomb Academy is. And that's right where this hailer is going to go through. And as Will was saying, some strong winds, a good possibility there in that storm as well. Looks a little bit microbursty, so winds going away from the radar here and winds going toward the radar here. So definitely some microburst action possible there
a couple
as well.
Reports of small hail near Julia Green Elementary School, which is in Green Hills. Some downed trees in the Forest Hills, Belmead area, so that all tracks with where this just came through.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, these reports are very important. This is the strongest storm we've seen today here in Davidson County, and reports are going to be very important. And this is in a heavily populated area with schools dismissing here in the next few minutes, and so there's going to be a lot of people out and about with this one. And so, yeah, send us your reports if you can. A picture, if you can do it safely. A picture is helpful. Let us know where you are, across street, something like that, where we can pinpoint where the picture was taken, where the report's coming from, and use hashtag TSpotter on Twitter. And we'll get that over to the Weather Service. And it's just useful for us as well to sort of know what we're looking at on radar here today. But this storm does appear to be packing quite a bit of a punch. And heaviest part of the storm now appears to be right around Tyne Boulevard again. Tyne Boulevard as it heads over toward, that'd be Tyne as it heads over toward Franklin Road. So it looks like it's going to be coming right into the Melrose area here shortly.
And the Weather Service is warning of the possibility, radar indicating the possibility of 1.25 inch size hail.
Yeah, that's going to be $half size hail. So $half size hail possible here in the purple areas. So again, right there around Radnor Lake, if I turn the radar off, see these areas of trees here, trees and hills. That's right where Radnor Lake is. And right there around Franklin Road, where you have that stretch of like Hogan Road. You got like a few churches there on the south side of, or on the Franklin Road there, right around Radnor Lake. And then you go up a little bit, you got Hogan Road, you got Franklin Road Academy, you've got Overton High School, and areas right around in there. That's exactly where this is. So Battery Lane, and so that's right near the Harding Place exit.
So if you have to travel between Brentwood and 440 on I-65, you might want to wait about 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Will brings up a good point. I'm going to pull up a traffic camera for us here, and we can see kind of what this is going to look like as it comes through. And let's see here. I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to give us a little bit of a perspective of what's happening there in that area. So, all right, so this is the traffic camera. Oh, it just froze up just as I pulled it up. But this is right at Armory Drive, south of Armory Drive. And let's see if we can get it pulled back up here again. That one may have gone dead. Looks like it did. Let's pull one up just... we may have lost power right there or something. So see if we can get us a camera. Yeah, so the heaviest core now is crossing I-65, and it's going to be right around Elysian Fields. That comes off. That's right around. That's going to be right around Father Ryan, and Woodmont Hills Church is up there. Kind of a lot of neighborhoods right in there. That's going to be a heavy hail core. Oh man, we lost the cameras there on I-65 as soon as I pulled them up. See if I can get them back. Doesn't look like I can. But it looked pretty gnarly there, I can tell you that. So, yeah, for sure, that looked pretty gross. Let's go back to radar here.
Hey, if you're at the zoo, it's time to get inside. If
Yep.
you're at Glencliff, if you're at Southern Hills Hospital, if you're at Seven Oaks, if you're planning to drive down 24 from, I'd say, 40 all the way down to, maybe the Harding exit. It's about to get overrun with straight line winds, torrential rainfall you can't see through, and likely small to medium sized hail.
Yeah, we could have gotten some pretty large hail there, right around between Granny White, Pike, and Radnor Lake, and right along I-65, and that could be ongoing. I'm sorry?
Andrew, the camera 65 northbound, north of Old Hickory, is working.
Yeah, that's outside the...
It's a little south.
Yeah. I'm going to wait till it gets over toward... Yeah, it's getting over toward 24 now. Here, I got one. Can pull up there.
I'd say it's coming down a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say the same
sense.
thing. Looks like it is.
It's pulsing. It looks like it's coming down. So when it pulses, it ramps up, then the warning comes out, and then it hits its peak, and then it starts to gradually fall apart.
Well, it kind of happened right there as that outflow boundary went up underneath it and really gave it some extra lift. And this is right, I-24 at Haywood Lane. This is right. I mean, the storm is just right on the border of this camera. I mean, it's just right off camera to the right, I believe. So I think we're looking southbound here, and I think the storm is just off to the right.
Yeah, it's because you wouldn't be able to see.
So it should be crossing the interstate here in just a second.
Yep.
But I'm interested to see what the winds look like, and we might also be able to see some hail in there. We'll have to see, but it should be there very soon. Yeah, man, the zoo and Glencliff, that's in the worst parts of it right now. So getting pretty close to this camera. We'll keep an eye on that.
The lightning hasn't slacked off, it seems. It's still lightning pretty good.
Yeah, still quite a bit of lightning with it. Cloud to ground strikes. It's a noisy storm. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect here. Let's call it for mostly Davidson County. The storm really is not going to affect, this particular storm is not going to affect Williamson County. This is a Davidson County storm, even though Williamson got clipped by this warning. And this is in effect until, let's see, that's going to be in effect until 3:30. And let's hope it doesn't intensify. Looks like we lost the camera here too. Well, we have a lot to choose from. Let's see if we can find another one.
You're just going to find one that kicks us off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that does
Man,
not.
this storm is mad. This is pouring on the poor dolly.
It is. Yeah, that does
The
not. look fun.
dollies. If you don't know, and not that I'm necessary, the Nashville Dollies. If you go to Nashville Dollies, DOLLYS.com, that's who we're talking about. They have some lit merch. I mean, frankly, it's better than ours.
That's not hard.
That's true. I don't know how quality. Like
Yeah,
they
ours
have
is
a
quality.
jersey on here that is like old Houston Astros style. So yeah, if you go to NashvilleDollies.com, and the only reason is they were asking, "Hey, are we gonna get rained out?" And man, brah, I think it's trouble. So anyway, sorry, that was for the record. This isn't a commercial for Nashville Dollies. We don't take advertising dollars.
It is pouring up here on I-24.
Yeah, look at that. Look at the traffic slow down.
I-24 is always slow, so I'm not sure how much the rain's actually affecting I-24. This looks pretty normal, but yeah, it is gross. It is gross.
Lots of hail picks coming in through Green Hills, Tyne Boulevard, Forest Hills. Most of it
Son of a
penny or larger.
Okay. That's good to know. So hail picks coming in from the Green Hills area just south, Green Hills, Oak Hill. Keep sending those. We want to know what happened out there as far as hail goes. It sure looked sizable on radar. It pulsed up pretty heavily.
Yeah,
And
good evidence of microburst too.
Yeah, it could be some wind
departed.
damage over there.
Yeah, it might burst again. I will say this is a very efficient rainmaker, and we really do need this rain. Like low key, this is kind of great. The timing is just terrible. People are trying to get their kids from school, maybe trying to leave work.
Check out the video here. That all of a sudden went, oh yeah, that's really blowing now. I-24 at Antioch Pike. Check velocities here. Doesn't look too impressive on velocities, but boy, it went wide out. It went wide out there on I-24. See, it's just lightened up now. See how it did that? Man, that was a wind gust.
I mean, a 60 dBz on the radar return, which is it's a good amount. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's the biggest we've ever seen. It's far from that, but it's still a pretty healthy storm.
See that? The thing just like you couldn't see.
No, I missed it. I was looking at velocity data.
That was wild. I mean, there for about a minute, you couldn't see anything on the camera, and then it just lightened up. Let's go back over to radar, give you all a little update on that. Let's go back here. And so this is what David's talking about. You got these purple areas, which is 60 dBz on radar, which is pretty high. And what we have here, I mean, check this out. What we've got, see this, there's an outflow boundary here, this light blue line that's now stretching from Franklin, coming into Nolensville, down the south sides of Antioch. Well, when that outflow boundary goes up under a storm, all right? So like when it interacts with a storm, watch this over in Bellevue, okay? There's really not much there in Fairview. And then you see the outflow boundary up around Bells Bend. That outflow boundary gets to that storm, it interacts with it. Well, an outflow boundary will typically loft air up into the sky, and it's candy for these storms. I mean, it's all the energy it needs, and so it lofts all this energy up there. And look what it did. That's when they warned it. It got really tall. It started producing big hail, and then now the outflow boundary is out ahead of it again around Percy Priest Lake down to Franklin. See how it's out ahead of it now? And the storm's going to start, the top of it's going to start falling out. All right. Yeah. So it's going to start weakening. Well, now we got to watch these storms down here around Franklin, these storms down here around Spring Hill. As this outflow boundary gets to those storms, could do the same thing that happened with this one. All right. So that's just an illustration of kind of how these things are pulsing up and down. It's all about these boundaries. And when these boundaries get up under a storm, it's going to be rough for about half an hour, and then it'll kind of start coming back down again.
That whole explanation, Andrew, which was perfect, reminds me of the time you go to get the ultrasound for your baby, and they're like, well, first of all, here's the baby, and you're looking at it like, what? That's a child? And then they say it's a boy or a girl, and like, how can you tell? And the tech's like, just trust me, I know I work with this stuff. But I'm like, I'll take your word for it because I sure don't see a thing. That's what it feels like interpreting some of this data. Like the outflow boundaries are what caused this thing to get bad. And I honestly think like once this storm is currently over BNA, once it gets over to Percy Priest, it's just going to collapse and just dump so much water on top of Percy Priest. And in fact, it's almost to the reservoir now. If you want to zoom in on that, I tweeted, I don't know, about 6-7 minutes ago, if you're on the lake, to get off the lake. Because this thing is moving quick, and it's going to put a lot of cloud to ground lightning on it. It's going to put a ton of rain and probably some hail as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's getting real close to Percy Priest Lake, coming on the western sides of the water now. And in fact, cloud to ground lightning strikes on the water now. These are coming out ahead of the rain, so time's up on Percy Priest. The number of times we've said that. Just hope people are off of there. But yeah, it's you see the white dots out on the water. So active lightning storm occurring at the lake, especially on the north side from Hobson Pike Bridge off to the north. Definitely a lightning storm going on there as the storm moves in. So right on top of BNA now, moving through the neighborhoods east of BNA, along Bell Road, headed toward Percy Priest Lake. So watching the I-24 camera off to the side, still pouring down rain on I-24, and not seeing a lot of flooding. But I mean, there, I don't know about this particular spot. I-24 is pretty hilly. It can be difficult outside of downtown Nashville to get flooding on I-24 in something like this. It's so hilly, water runs off pretty well, but definitely seeing a lot of water. Yeah, still pouring on 24. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect till 3:30, and that's within this yellow polygon here. And we can see this is a current radar picture. This is the latest radar picture with the storm near B&A approaching Percy Priest Lake up to Hermitage, down toward Creve Hall, and over toward Nippers Corner, Southern Hills Hospital.
Ground stop at BNA.
Yeah, no surprise there. Ground stop there at B&A. So, yeah, nothing in or out at B&A for a little bit.
Gonna be a minute.
So back edge of the storm is around Creve Hall now, coming through areas where the zoo is, Southern Hills Hospital. That'll be crossing I-24 here in a little bit. And then, but storm still has a little bit of hail potential with it. I wouldn't say that's completely gone as it collapses. Still seeing some areas here on correlation coefficient where there could be some hail mixed in there, but I wouldn't expect it to be as large as it was back to the west. We back up the radar here, and you see the very defined hail core. The purple areas really kind of got going here at the surface from about Page Road, Chickering Road, over there in Forest Hills. That's probably where the hail kind of started picking up, Will, if I had to guess on reports, and then it kind of moved east to Tyne Boulevard, crossed Granny White Pike right there around Tyne, and then moved east right there along Tyne Boulevard on the north sides of Radnor Lake, and then crossed the interstate. I would expect there's probably some pretty good hail right there around Elysian Fields Road, right there on Father Ryan School, crossed I-65, and then kind of let up right after that, right around the Radnor Yards, the railroad yard there. It's kind of where it started lightening up. So if I had to guess and kind of draw a picture of where the hail swath was, that's probably where it would be.
Yeah, P-size reports now at BNA, at the zoo. Tree down south of Harding on 65 southbound. Got a photo of that. Looks like we retweeted that if you want to see it, but that's exactly what we would expect to see. Harding and 65 tree down. That doesn't surprise me at all.
This has also been a pretty efficient power outage maker, and we've got looks like NES has 11,400 customers out right now. Looks like the largest outage right now appears to be right across from the Ellington Agriculture Center, east of kind of round and east of Edmondson Pike. All the way, it looks like that power outage extends from the neighborhoods all the way from Edmondson Pike all the way over to Nolensville Road. And so about 3,700 customers there. And then just east of that, you cross Nolensville Road, power's out all the way from Nolensville Road all the way up past I-24. Huge area of South Nashville without power. So we're talking about that's about 6,000 customers just in that one area, from Antioch all the way over to Edmondson Pike. And then it looks like a very large power outage up around Elm Hill Pike, just north of I-40 at the airport.
Andrew, there was a Metro ASOS reported 69-mile-an-hour wind gust.
Whoa, at the airport. Wow.
BNA.
Okay, so
69.1 miles an hour.
69.1 miles per hour at the Nashville airport. So, yeah, that's... Let me go back on radar. I mean, really?
I mean, you just got to guess that the angle was different. TBNA might have seen it just as poorly. Ground truth, baby.
These are southwest to northeast moving storms. How did OHX not see that?
Maybe a plane flew by. I don't know. Will's the aviation expert. He should be able to tell us.
I'm sitting at my desk. I wasn't there, but I don't see what.
It's just so funny because it was such a comedic line delivered expertly. I mean, obviously you weren't there,
I wasn't there.
but the funny thing is a lot of times you are there.
Sometimes I was there earlier, but I'm not there right now. I don't see. Maybe if we go to TBNA and go,
It doesn't work.
way back.
TBNA's out.
TBNA's down
Is it okay?
because we need it. It's
Of course, it's
this is the day we need it to work.
Well, I don't see any damage, and a 70-mile-an-hour gust at BNA would cause damage somewhere.
We're just so resilient though here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's newly constructed out there.
Imagine if you were on the rooftop deck of that new hotel when a 70 came through.
Well, don't make me tell my story about when I was on the tarmac in Memphis and the tornado warning polygon hit the airport and we were just sitting there chilling on the tarmac. That was fun. I mean, it was shaking. I could tell it was missing us by 3 or 4 miles. The plane was freaking out. And I was just sitting there chilling.
5 trees down in Belmead, struck by lightning. Half a dozen other trees down. Lots of police, fire trucks. Yikes.
Yeah, I'm getting messages from my office. My office doesn't have power, so I'm glad I came home for this one. I would be covering this there. And
Great job by
currently
you, Andrew.
Currently running on battery power, so glad I'm home for this one. So it looks like Williamson's getting cut out of the warning here, which makes total sense. This is a Davidson County storm. So
Now,
radar
that said, the outflow boundary is now crossed Franklin, and there's a new line of storms out there near Leapers Fork.
Yep.
That might perk up now that we're about to clear this bad one. I mean, it's still over Percy Priest, and it'll be a Nashville thing here for another, gosh, what do you think, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
And then we'll have to see if this lightning storm near Leapers Fork starts to pull some strengthening out of it and come into Franklin. I think Jim Warren Park will now finally get some rain. Downs Boulevard, Williams County Soccer Association out there, off Downs, and Jim Warren Park is where most Wilco kids play baseball and soccer. And that looks like that might be in trouble for too much rain, but we'll see. As you know, as I know very well, having played and coached on every single one of those fields, some of them handle water more efficiently than others. So I'm not calling for total rainouts, but check before you go.
Yeah, see, this is one of those situations. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of over here while y'all are talking. I'm kind of over here looking at radar. I'm pretty baffled at how there has been this much damage produced, because it seems to be a fairly intense storm wind-wise. And I would not have guessed that by this radar presentation.
So the ASOS shows a 60-knot wind gust 8 minutes ago, another one 4 minutes ago, which is sus to me. And
but we've got these trees down all over the place.
We do, but then the
outages,
third one at 60 a minute ago. So you're telling me that we had 3 severe wind gusts within.
Well, but look at
10
this.
minutes of each other?
See, look on radar here on the loop. Okay, now I can see there might be one right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not blue, but there's a gust. One there, one there.
I mean, I'm not gonna dispute the ASOS reading. It's just super frustrating because
it is frustrating. That's what I'm saying.
KOHX should see it.
I totally agree. That's just frustrating because
really
we're getting damaging wind
today.
gusts out of this thing. It should have a good look at it. The storms are heading right for the radar.
Well, honestly, maybe these gusts happen between sweeps.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's not like we have, 21st century radar here.
We're getting.
I mean, let's be honest. We're operating on radars designed in the mid '80s. And they've been upgraded and improved significantly, and to great success, as Borat would say. But they're still not. These are not modern radars.
Sales too.
We're getting 2-minute scans. So that's good.
I mean, that's the only explanation I can give it, other than it just, the radar angle was poor.
Yeah.
Which also is not an entirely satisfactory answer either.
Leaper storm is pulsing. Looks like it's on an upswing. That may graze.
It does.
West of Franklin.
All right, I'm gonna send a tweet about that because that's a great catch.
I would expect that to go severe because it's running. That boundary is extending. You can see it run through Sullivan Farms, McKay's to Nolensville. It's pretty faint, but it's there. Now it's a lightning producer. So given the history of these other storms, that may go severe here before too long.
All right, yeah, so we are watching a couple of storms now. One of them is this clearly damaging storm that came through Davidson County, produced a lot of power outages. For a storm like this, for a storm with a radar presentation that we saw, 11,400 power outages is pretty high. 11,525 now.
Yeah, especially since it hasn't stormed south of.
Yeah, this is all in one side of town.
Boulevard. Yeah,
this is all in one area of town. So really large power outages from really affecting areas between Nolensville Road, really from I-24, Nolensville Road, Franklin Road, and Hillsborough Road, south of I-40 or 440. I mean, pretty widespread power outages there. My office being one of them, and and so clearly a lot of wind damage here. We're seeing pictures of trees down over I-65 south of Harding Place. And so, most likely these power outages are due to wind and trees interacting with the power lines there in the Creve Hall area and Nolensville Road, I-24 areas there. So a lot of wind with these storms apparently, and that storm number 1, it's like storm number 4 today or whatever, but storm number 1 here that we're watching currently is this one exiting into Wilson County, and then this storm down to the southwest. It's not warned, but could be a storm here on the upswing around Leapers Fork that we're going to have to watch. This one's kind of starting to get its act together. It's not there yet, but it's getting its act together a little bit as it heads into Franklin. And so we'll watch that one.
Having TBNA, we likely would have seen it for the storm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, we agree.
Yeah, some of us are lamenting the fact currently that we're missing our radar down here in Nolensville. So TBNA is normally a good friend to us on days like today, and it's currently out to lunch. So we don't have that radar currently, nor have we had it on a consistent basis recently. So that's frustrating. Weather Service says there's still plenty of instability and shear out there for these storms to get going. We've seen that. We've seen that happen. There's still plenty of energy out there, and so they can get severe quickly. So, yeah, just as Will said, we're going to be watching that storm right there around Leapers Fork coming into Franklin. Here in the next 15 minutes or so, that thing could be a different looking storm than what we're seeing right now. So if you're in Franklin or Cool Springs or Brentwood or maybe even Nolensville, just kind of keep an eye on this storm. This is going to be your storm to watch right there around Leapers Fork. And it could strengthen here over the next 15 minutes or so. And then beyond that, we got storms down here in Murray County and Marshall County. Those won't be a problem for Williamson County. Well, could clip southeastern Williamson County, I suppose. But right now they're behaving. But as we've seen today, they can go severe pretty quickly. All right, so heads up, Williamson County. We're going to be watching this one for a minute. And we're just going to stay here and kind of watch it while I eat my bowl of cereal that's been sitting here for 20 or 30 minutes now.
Make sure you crunch your cereal
Into
the
the
mic
mic.
as you're
Yes.
eating it.
well, there's no
Yes.
crunch left. It's all just mush now.
Ew.
We'll still hear it.
The special K doesn't do well when it sits in milk for half an hour.
I would argue that Special K doesn't do well in any circumstance. There's nothing special about Special K. You gotta put blueberries or raspberries or something on it.
It has strawberries. It has freeze-dried strawberries in it.
I'm sure those are good for you.
Hail marker now in Weepers.
Yeah, it's definitely so. That's exactly what's at. It's getting
I've got
lofted.
a 42.5 mile an hour wind hitting just on the west side of West Haven, approaching Whitehall Farms up to Cottonwood, my old grounds, and Fieldstone Farms, Franklin High School, that area. You see it, Andrew?
Yep.
A little pulse of big winds at 2,000 feet. Again, if we had TBNA, we would know more with some certainty how strong the winds were on the ground, which is all that matters.
Yeah, and that's kind of on the back side of the storm.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a better read of kind of what's going on here right at West Haven. So right at West Haven is where that storm is now. Founders Point, Whitehall Farms, Fieldstone Farms, Legends Club. If you know anybody out there playing golf, surely their lightning detectors have gone off and that sort of thing, cleared the course. But just make sure you're inside when this comes through. Cool Springs, going to get rainy. And let's just hope it doesn't have the same effect as what it did on Metro Nashville here in the past few minutes.
Ooh, I wonder if we can see the Perry camera at Franklin.
Oh, you'll have to launch Radar Omega.
Yeah.
I mean, how many radar? I have 4 radar programs up right now. That's not enough.
What? Yeah.
Some of them are copies of programs. All right, let's see. Let's do a tweet. What's chat saying? Chat is chatting. Let's go. So storm is pulling into West Haven now. The heavy winds, as Andrew was saying, are kind of behind the front, the beginning of the heavy precip. But I don't see a swath here that is concerning. This is certainly not anywhere close to what the Bellevue to BNA to Percy pre-storm was.
It looks to me that the outflow boundary is right here from Nolensville, McKay's Mill, Sullivan Farms. That storm might be right behind the outflow boundary, actually. It might have already crossed it. So I'll be curious to see. We might.
I think you're right. It has crossed it.
I think it has crossed it. I'm not sure. Whatever it's going to do, I think it's going to do probably in the next 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, there's a hail marker on it. So it has jumped up. So yeah, we'll have to. So right here we're looking at 18,000 feet. So this is the radar at 18,000 feet. Watch how we go back. There's not much there. Then all of a sudden there's purple. All right, so there's a bunch of hail. If I go here to this mode, you see this yellow and blue and pink stuff? That's ice. That's ice and water up here at about 18,000 feet that's got to come down, all right? So that's right now, that's right over Jim Warren Park and West Main. And that's got to all come down. So that's going to be coming down here between Jim Warren Park, Franklin Green, Founders Park, Franklin High School, and downtown Franklin. All right, so a hailer possible. I think we might have a hailer kind of getting its act together right here around downtown Franklin. Maybe just off to the north of downtown Franklin by the time it gets there.
We got increasing 60 dBz pixels.
So wind and hail possible here. We're gonna have to watch for that. It's not currently warned. We'll have to see if they warn it. Currently, all warnings are gone. Actually, didn't realize that was just now. So all the warnings are currently gone. But this one here, yeah, it looks like now we have hail falling. Yeah, we got some hail falling. It looks like here around Franklin Green, Jim Warren Park, West Haven, Founders Point, and in Franklin. So I would expect if you are in Franklin, you'll be getting some hail here shortly. BGA, downtown Franklin, inside the Machatcher Loop, Liberty Elementary. Prepare for some heavy rain, some hail, and probably some gusty winds here over the next 10 minutes. Let's see here. Man, these people just had their roofs replaced from hailstorm out there back in the spring. I know hail is one of the last things they want to see out there right now.
Yeah, this storm aloft at 22,000 feet is running 68.5 decibels moving into Franklin, which means if you're at all familiar with gravity, it will fall to the earth. And that will hurt if you're underneath it.
I'm putting that on a t-shirt. If you're at all familiar with gravity.
Hey, look, it's starting to hook a little bit too.
Yeah, we went from having 4 or 5 pixels.
Okay, hold on. Andrew, you can't turn that camera. That's where my physical therapy is.
The one that you're supposed to be at in 30 minutes?
Yeah. It's just off to the left there. That's the Walgreens over there on the left.
Yep.
And great call by me. And look at this poor guy. He's coming out of a Walgreens. He's just getting wet. He's just giving up. Is he going to his car? Like, he's just walking. Like, bro is like, forget it. Like, I could hustle, but I'm already soaked, so why bother? That dude's a legend, man. I would have run. I don't care how wet I was.
Well, and it could very well be hailing there as well. I don't see. I'm looking for it on the concrete.
We can get report.
Well, let me see. Hold on. Have we gotten any reports? Hail in Columbia, Tennessee.
Columbia?
4 trees down on Tyne. Multiple trees down all over Belmead. The BNA observation area is completely white out, or it was a few minutes ago. Nothing in the areas west of Franklin related to hail. So, David, we may need to pimp the T-spotter, see if we can get some reports. Okay, cool.
You asked me to do it like 10 minutes ago, and
now it's done.
And, well, it took me 10 minutes too long to do it because I got distracted by shiny objects.
And gravity.
Well, gravity is distracting, let me tell you.
Dude, look at that. Where is that? Hillsborough and Del Rio. Okay, so that's...
this is just north of downtown Franklin.
Yeah.
Looking toward downtown Franklin.
Like Fieldstone Farms area.
South of there.
South of that, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking here.
Wow.
Yeah, the cemetery is over on the right side of your picture. If you know where the cemetery is there, Del Rio.
Yep.
And so you're looking right toward downtown Franklin here.
There's a Sonic up there on your right.
Yep, Sonic's up there on the right. That's right.
By the way, that trail there, the Bicentennial, I don't know if they call it mall or park or whatever. It looks like it's snowing, by the way.
Yeah, it does.
That's a nice little trail. Off screen, if you're wondering what we do off screen, we're teaching our intern to
Juggle.
to use the right terminology, internal terminology, as we're figuring out who's responsible for what. We adopted the submarine movie terminology from Crimson Tide, Hunt for Red October. Am I forgetting one? Mostly influenced by Red October, but
Crimson Tide's good.
Crimson Tide is good. Same kind of concepts.
I like when they throw Gene Hackman in jail.
Spoiler alert, Will.
Oh, sorry. The movie's 35 years old. I mean,
somebody will get in the chat and be mad about that.
Somebody's going to be mad. Gene Hackman went to jail? What? Mr. Cobb.
Really trying to see if I see hail in there. I'm not seeing. I see leaves on the ground, but I'm not seeing a lot of hail.
And the core has come down a little bit. I mean, the core is still sitting suspended over Franklin. It might come down over by Centennial High School, over by the new Nissan HQ and McKay's Mill.
Okay, let me just tell you, if I pull a camera up near your house today, just know that within 15 seconds of me pulling it up, your power is going to go out.
Well, don't pull one up near my house.
That's happened for every camera that I've pulled up here in the last few minutes.
Somebody in the YouTube chat wants us to share our glossary of terminology for storm coverage.
We used to have a glossary.
We don't anymore. Stop it, Bruno.
Let me see if the webpage is still active. No, I think I took it down. I mean, honestly, some of the illustrations were, like, no doubt 12 years old.
Yeah.
Andrew, the license plate logo you have in the back is weirding me out because it looks inverted. The one over your left or your right shoulder?
Yeah, grab that. Let's do a little straw poll. How many of you put a 1 in the chat if you think we should sell this on our store?
Nobody's going to put that on their car. I mean, I have one.
I don't have one.
You just have to make one. It's not hard. Nobody has half dollars anywhere. Can you compare it to the size of a Bitcoin? That's a great comment from Richard Vance.
I like the guy who says, I was stationed on a sub-tender in the Navy. It was mostly just cursing. See, a bunch of 1s. There we go. All right. Y'all want a Nash Severe license plate. Somebody, put a 0 if you don't.
Power back on it, deja vu.
Yes.
I mean,
that's a tweet of the day.
Shame. But people got to make a living. All right, so the heaviest of this rain now is just now crossing I-65 from like the Brentwood Library, the Concord exit, all the way down to over by the McEwen exit on 65. It's moving now towards Ravenwood High School, towards Crockett Park, towards the Governor's Club. And then eventually it'll be in Nolensville.
Yay!
Yes. I remember a time when Nolensville didn't get the big letter treatment of the other big cities, but now it has it.
We're coming along.
4th and Main dime size hail in Franklin per amateur radio operator.
Dimes, impressive. I'm going to pull up Earth and see what the rainfall estimates are. I'll use the 12-hour one just so I can be having a good time. They're not impressive. I can't find anything over an inch. Well, maybe I found a little bit more of an inch in western Davidson County over by like Marrowbone and Fontenelle out there. But even that's mostly below an inch.
Yeah.
Looking here, this is City of Brentwood camera. The rain is coming So you're looking down Moore's Lane toward Cool Springs Boulevard. So, like the Home Depot and stuff would be straight ahead of this road. So the rain's going to be coming toward the camera
What
here.
about the camera in Cool Spring? Oh, okay, I got you. That's
This is in Cool
I see-
Springs.
yeah,
It's
no, I see
it's
where
headed
you're at.
toward it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty. This one has a good view of the ground. I'm kind of curious to see if I can see hail on the sidewalk or on the ground here in just about a minute and a half.
It's probably melted.
Well, I mean, it's approaching now.
Well, let's see if we can see it bounce.
Oh, I see.
Cannon Bridgeway, Cool Springs Boulevard, bottom just fell out. Small hail. Okay.
Well, should we hang on to this a little bit longer? I think so.
A lot of ones in the chat for the
Come here, buddy.
license plate.
Come here, boys. Oh, come here. Oh gosh. Oh.
Becca
The dense
Simon
dog
wants-
advisory.
Becca Simon wants to know how soggy is that cereal?
Oh, what?
How's that soggy cereal?
It's very, very soggy. This is like it's all basically liquid now. I could slurp it all down.
It tastes like feet.
Waste not, want not. Okay, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch hail downtown Franklin. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think
go to-
this is.
Go to Key Spotter. There's a picture of hail bouncing in Cool Springs.
Oh, I see. Tyne and Granny White. I see why the power's out in that area. Tree came down, took the whole line out. So if your power's out in the Tyne and Granny White area, it's going to be that way for just a little while. They're going to have to replace a pole.
Uh-oh. I can't believe there's still 800 people on here watching this.
They're here for the dogs.
Yeah, that's right. And the cereal. It's always about food with you, Andrew. But didn't the last time we did one of these where we stayed on after the warning, we got talking about your like granny's frozen custard or something like that?
Y'all want the recipe again?
No.
We had an argument about it. Ow. All right, dogs, get down. Y'all are killing my arm. Oh.
So,
Wind's
David.
picking up right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Wind's
it
picking
is.
up around. In fact, it's actually coming from the east. That's interesting.
But
What do you think this is going to do to whatever that farm is across from the factory, where Pilgrimage is?
Harlansdale.
Yes.
Well, I know that most of the structures have already been built,
That's good.
which is good. Main stage is done. They were a little bit ahead of schedule, which is great. Certainly going to get soggy there. The farm needs rain. It's just I mean, everybody knows it's just dirt out there. And I don't think it's going to do too much. I mean, this is beneficial rain. It's not a flood. I was looking at rainfall rates, and for the farm there, it's probably okay. We do see, Andrew, if you want to switch to radar for a sec, if you can, I want to make a point about the stream of moisture coming in from Duck River to our southwest. Let me go ahead and put
Look
that
at
in motion.
Yep. Let me get rid of this red box.
Yeah. So we talk about training where rain goes over it kind of all connects together. It trains, runs over the same spot. You can get flooding in training events, and there's a question as to whether or not that rain over by Duck River, essentially stretching from Franklin to Hohenwald. Andrew, if you leave it on that last image, see that it might create a train where we get a little bit more rain than we might want here this evening. The thinking is the motion is northeast, but the system itself should slide east. So we'll wait and see what that's going to do to certain grassy and dirt reliant areas for activities. But that's not a great presentation. I would rather not have training rainfall. I'd rather it just spread out and give everybody about 1.25 inches of good drink.
Yeah. Yeah, we
But
need a good blob of rain for a day.
yeah, at like a really low rate that
Yeah.
goes like all
At
night
a
or
half
something.
an inch an hour all night.
Because that looks like that might be setting up a train. And honestly, it really might slide east, like on the east side of 65 in Wilco,
Mm-hmm.
and mess up Fly Park, mess up fields up in Nolensville. Maybe even as far south as like Page. I'm gonna run a tweet about this because.
So,
Right,
Andrew,
do some art.
that special weather statement for hail up to 3/4 of an inch and 40.
Yeah, so penny size hail possible, 40-mile-per-hour winds on this weakening storm. The storm has weakened quite a bit, and it's kind of like it's what we said a minute ago when that storm is coming into Franklin and where that boundary was. We said whatever this storm's going to do, it's probably going to do in the next 10, 15 minutes, and that's exactly what it has done. It's coming back down now, coming into Governor's Club, crossing right there around Ravenwood, crossing Wilson Pike, and heading for parts of Nolensville, maybe the north, basically probably parts of Nolensville north of Clovercroft Road. Well, actually, which is just about all of Nolensville. But it's definitely weakened. It's not nearly as strong as it was a little bit ago. So let's back out. And what we got to do is back out and kind of look and see where this boundary is now, because that's exactly what has triggered. It's getting a little hard to see. Got to go back and find it and follow it. Let's see where it goes. It's kind of hard to pick it up. I think, from what I can tell, it's probably somewhere right in here around the Ag Center to Nolensville, kind of right in front of these storms. And so what we're going to have to watch for is like you guys were talking about down here to the south, these storms, as they kind of come up into Williamson County, it's really hard to tell where that boundary is, but if they cross that boundary, they could do the same thing this one did, which was pulse up, drop some hail, some wind, and then weaken again as it crosses the boundary. So it's like it's perking up just a little bit, but still doesn't look too terribly strong.
It's picking up some inflow there, it looks like, didn't it?
There is southerly inflow today, so any of that south wind that's able to get into the storm, will help feed it a little bit. But the main energy from this storm looks to be from that boundary that's lifting it. It's providing the lift that we need today.
Like a speed bump in the sky.
Yep. So the interesting thing will be these storms down to the southwest. How will they interact with whatever's left of this boundary that we can't really see on radar much anymore? How will they interact with it as it comes up into Williamson County? So, but beyond that, I want to give this storm around Nolensville another couple of radar scans. But beyond that, looks like we're doing okay for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending a message here. I gotta send a text. I'll be back in a minute.
I'm making a tweet about training down in Wilco. That's been sent. So while Andrew does that, he's got left on there the storm that's coming into Nolensville. And you'll notice that from the top of it is kind of near Governor's Club, and the bottom of it's over by Clovercoff Road. And it's got kind of a messy little hook signature on it, but it's certainly weakening. Certainly not a tornado at all concern. And in fact, the lightning is it's still lightning for sure. So if you're in Nolensville, hit inside, but it's nowhere near the efficient cloud to ground lightning striker that the storm that went from Bellevue to Nashville into BNA and the Percy Priest and out into Lebanon now was. But we might start to pile up some heavy rain from like Nolensville down to Franklin, down to like the Boston area in Southwest Williamson County. And that rain might actually even slide east into Thompson Station or Spring Hill as we go through like the 4:30, 5 o'clock time frame. But again, none of these storms are currently severe. The only product that's in effect is for that Nolensville storm. A little note from the Weather Service that says the storm is moving east at 35 miles an hour towards Nolensville, and it may contain wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour and or penny-sized hail. So that's pretty small hail, but still hail. So that's probably enough to knock down, the weak tree limbs are just been hanging on, or your potted plant, or your little plastic chair that's outside. I went and tied up my umbrellas that I have outside, the little deck things, because the wind can get up underneath there and destroy them, or the table that they're sticking through the middle of. But other than that, there aren't any hazards other than, maybe your ball game's going to get rained out. As for Nashville looks pretty clean right now. Southeast Nashville, like Creve Hall, is probably the northernmost part of the current precipitation over to Antioch. So Cane Ridge is going to see some heavy rain here. But the rest of Nashville, from BNA to Hermitage to Madison, up to Jolton, Bells Bend, Bellevue, Bandy downtown, Oak Hill, Berry Hill, probably okay now. Models do want the storms to redevelop again this evening. I think that's very unlikely, but the front hasn't come through. And in fact, there's even a storm out in West Tennessee, north of Jackson, Tennessee, that's got a little advisory on it from the Weather Service office out in Memphis. But by the time those storms get to us, the sun will be going down or will have gone down completely. And that's going to limit a lot of the surface-based energy that could really get stuff going. But again, as we mentioned, I don't know, about an hour ago, we might actually end up with storms that are born aloft, and those can produce rainfall and stuff. But generally speaking, if you're not already rained out in Nashville, you're probably okay. And I say that with a little bit of uncertainty, just because we'd be advising against what the HRRR model thinks, which is additional heavy storm redevelopment. Like one of the runs that I looked at 30 minutes ago had 60, 70 dBz returns, which I think is really unlikely. But we'll see. We'll monitor it. Again, mostly concerned about the training rainfall. The rain that goes from that Andrew just zoomed back on and he is using with his mouse there, if that all goes over the same place at once, that's a ton of rainfall and it may be a problem. I'm hoping that it slides a little bit further to the east and gets more into Spring Hill, College Grove, Page High School, Nolensville, out that way, Arrington, those places, so everybody can get a share of the drink of water. And if you've read the blog today that Elon pinned to the top of our page, he's got some more information about the wet week ahead, including the landfalling Helene. Looks to be landfalling sometime Thursday. It will come ashore, degrade into a tropical storm, and then try to make a left turn, a little northwest turn, as it fizzles out into just a regular old-fashioned low, and may produce rain for us Friday. So if you got Friday night football games ready to go, you got homecoming this Friday night, you have not won the lottery. But still too soon to say with any specificity about what's going on. Just the message here is just to let's watch the weather. and then make decisions Thursday night, Friday about Friday night activities. The rest of the weekend looks kind of scattered, probably okay. So I don't think the weekend's a total washout at all by any stretch of the imagination. So that's good news.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on all that this evening. So maybe we won't have any more severe storms, but if we do, we'll be here and we'll get back on here and
Yeah, we
check
might
it out.
should pull down the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking NES. NES is showing about 9,900 customers out now. Some of those outages, a couple thousand there, they were able to get back online, getting some stuff reset and cleared. So down to 9,900 now. That's good news. But still, largest power outages now still from Nolensville Road over to I-24 in Antioch, up there just north of the airport, around Elm Hill Pike and the hotels over there. Right there around Ellington over to Nolensville, and then over in Oak Hill, really from the Warner Parks over in Belmead. Most of Belmead is without power on the south side, and then over toward Oak Hill, really all the way surrounding Radnor Lake. So from Battery Lane all the way down to Old Hickory Boulevard and Brentwood, and then over on the east side of Radnor Lake, up and down Franklin Road there, just north of Brentwood, from Harding Place down where all the churches there are around Radnor Lake, Hogan Road, all that area without power as well. So kind of a mess as you go home today. Traffic, I was just looking at the TDOT. The TDOT map is a mess right now. It is red all over the place. So don't expect to go anywhere quickly this afternoon as you head home. So traffic's just no fun. This is going to be one of those days. So, but we'll jump back on here if we need to, and otherwise we'll be on Twitter, on X, or over on Instagram. So talk to you guys later.